The AR-15 market and its current situation here at the end of 2025. But before we get into it, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. It helps with the algorithms. Now, AR-15 guns and values is something that I have to make a separate video on because they're not like normal, say, hunting shotguns, bolt action rifles, things like that, or even handguns. Okay, they're in a class of their own. In the past, we've seen, because they were banned at one point in time, always these panic buys, and it's sporadic. And magazines, the guns, and yes, some states do ban or force you to register said guns, like this. Now, this is an Anderson AM-15, okay? Generic gun, you know, budget gun. A lot of people don't like them, and yes, there are ARs that go up to 1K to 2K, depending on what you want or what type or company you're buying from. Alright? Even those firearms have kind of shifted down. The popularity of the gun and the fluctuation in the price, you know, at one time these things were like 600 units, during the panic they go up to 800 units, okay? And then even some of these things I've seen at some points in time during these short panics back during the Obama administration, over 1K for a basic gun like this, okay? Then they would drop back down. And each time, because production would go crazy, it would lower and lower. So that 6.5 dropped to about 5. Then you seen it get down there to about 4.25. Then now we're seeing it at Radical Firearms 3.5. Okay, 350 units. Now you add, like I said, a little rule of thumb, the $50 for shipping, handling, tax, and transfer fee, you're looking at 400. Okay, so you can buy a budget AR for about 400 units right now. Okay, you know, much like this thing here. So what happens is if you bought that same model back during the panic and paid 7, 8, you know, where do you stand now? Okay, a lot of people are kind of PO'd, but yeah, that's just the sad part of it. So, if you want to know what it is and get a fix on the value, a lot of people go, well, I got this, or what's it, you know, I'll show you a way you can do it yourself. Now, what I did is went to the gun broker. There's an auction company there, and what they do is they get like 10 pages of stuff, and there's a whole array of stuff. There's expensive items, there's you know, a lot of handguns, various handguns, old, new, black powder replicas, things like that. So what happened is and the only bad thing about this company is they must have went to either a pawn shop or somewhere and got a ton of ARs, and a bunch of them were Andersons and some other guns. Like I said about the economy, when the economy starts to fail, people need money, they go to sell their guns. And what you do on a gun broker, you don't have to bid or anything. Just put on your watch list these guns, and then when they close, you go up there, there's active and ended, go to ended, and you have a list of what these things sold for. Now, gun broker is tricky. You can't do this with every auction house. I do it with Lock, Stock, and Barrel because they start everything off at a penny. I did business with them. And what they do is they don't grab you, the buyer, they grab the seller a 20% fee of the hammer price. So it's $100, you're going to lose 20 on each 100. Okay? But this is a good way to gauge prices, and now I'm going to gauge AR-15s, especially Andersons. They must have had 10 of them there, and some other odd stuff. Okay, I'm on Gunbroker, and I'm looking at my closed auctions or ended auctions, and I'm going to cover a couple other things here that I was watching, other than AR-15s, and some Colt SP1s. Finish Model 27s. They've been going for about 800 units, 7.5. We got one here, and they're charging. Another thing, check out what they charge for shipping. You know, 40 to 50 is about right. Okay, that's when they're getting 60, 80. Some people charge you $100 in shipping. That's not good. So we got one that closed at 600 units, another 27, 675. So price is coming down a little lower. Then I was looking at Colt SP1s, okay, and you find them in different condition. One here went for 2.6K. Another one, I think this one was kind of beat up, went for 1.3K. There's another one here. This one went for 2.5K and 1.7, 1.5K, 1.65K. You can get a good one in good shape, older Colt commercial, you know, the SP1s, for about, I'd say on average 1.6 for a decent gun. You know, they do vary in condition. Now, we're going to get into this last auction here, and this is where he had an auction, SP1 with a bayonet and sling and everything went for 1.6K. Alright. Had some FNs, some odd guns. We're going to go over some odd stuff they had in this last auction. Pre-ban, FN, FAL, match type 3 went for 2.8K. There was pre-ban Daewoo with a folding stock, 3.2K. The Valkyrie 16-inch barrel, M3A1, you know, semi-automatic version of the grease gun, that went for 3.6K. Another FN, 1.9K. Mark Lamar, that little short one with the welded-on thing, 1.7K. Another unusual FN FAL, it was a Lithgow, I don't know what that is, but that one for 5.1K. Now this is an unusual one. Now this is where if you got something really rare, Smith Manufacturing FG42 Type 1 8mm Mauser semi-automatic. That went for 9.5K. Argentine Mauser, 503 units, 503 units. There's some other odd stuff. Another Daewoo, 2.285K. Alright, so you can see the values there. Now, let's get into the Anderson M15s. Now, like I said, there was a whole group of these. Some have a sling. Most of them have a sling with them. So I don't know if this is someone's accumulation or he cleaned out a used gun shop or a pawn shop. But there was a slew of them. Okay. And, alright. First one, 280 units. Then another one below, 280 units. 275 units for this one. 285 units. And they were, this one in 300 blackout, 305 units. Some of these had like a forward assist missing, so they do give an accurate description, but all these guns were not in pristine condition. But you're going to see the average here is under 300 units. Another one, 275 units, 280 units, 285 units. This one here had some Magpul stocks on there, 275 units. 305 units, 301 units, 285 units, 330 units for that one, and 307 units. So that was a whole slew of these Anderson guns on average. So I just took the average 280 units, and I calculated with their shipping the $30, this and that, the taxes, using a card, 4% charge on the overall, and my transfer dealer's fee. A 285 unit buy would end up being about 350 units to get it in my hand, and that's for a used Anderson. When I think the new ones are sold out. I paid like 20 units more for a brand new one. But that's what these guns are worth now. Now, probably when they were bought 5 years ago, they all went for 4, if not more, close to 5. Okay? So that shows you the devaluation. It's kind of what I'm trying to get at. But also, you see some rare and unusual stuff, didn't go at no discount price. I mean, they're paying almost $3,000 for them Daewoo pre-bands. Alright? So that's kind of, the market, like I said, it's very unequal. Okay, finding a used Anderson is about as easy's going to get. Getting a pre-band Daewoo, they don't come up every day. Okay? So that's what it all kind of translates into in the AR-15 style value category. And this is a simple tool to use, or if you want, go to True Gun Value, type the model in, and what True Gun Value will do, it lists these auctions and the price to give you an idea. And they give you on average what's usually, if the guns trade. Now if you go and put something in there that is kind of off the wall and not that popular, it will come back and give you, we have no idea, we can't give you a price fix. Okay? So these are some tools you can use to gauge anything. And you can do this with a lot of guns, especially on this one site. Now you can go and find people on GunBroker. See, this is where you got to take this with a grain of salt. There are some outlandish things on GunBroker that you cannot use as a guide. You have to get something that you understand, and I've done business with this, so again, lock, stock, and barrel. Every 2 weeks they run a series of auctions. And just take the time to sit there, go through their listing, and if you see something, like say you see a Smith & Wesson revolver that you have, or something like it, or, something else, a shotgun, a lever action rifle, they have a whole array of guns. Watch it on that auction, and this will give you a fair idea, or go to True Gun Value, and it'll help you get an idea what the current price is. Okay? Thank you and stay tuned.